I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. How many times have you heard that? I know I have heard it a gajillion times, and it always comes up around the topic of weapons or things to carry when you're traveling, especially as a woman who travels alone. People are always, they always ask me, what do you carry? Do you have a gun? Do you have a knife? And it's like, it's unfortunate that that's the kind of things that we need to talk about, but let's talk about it. I mean, what discussion of safety would be complete without what can you carry to be safe? So stay tuned. I've got some thoughts, hopefully some surprises. I think you might like it. You know what? I know you're gonna like it. Stay tuned. I'm Chris. This is Adventure Dogs. So let's get right to the elephant in the room, or the king who's sitting beside me, who sometimes feels like he's elephant-sized. Should you carry a weapon? I'm going to leave that up to you. You're hopefully a grown-up, especially if you're traveling alone, so you can make your own decisions. But I'm going to give you some things to think about. Anything you carry has to be effective, because otherwise, what's the point? It has to be something that you'll actually carry, and it has to be legally defensible. And that's where that whole, carried by, judged by 12 comes into, because people tend to use it as an excuse to do things that will bite them in the ass later. And I think the meaning behind it is legit, because so many people think that they can't defend themselves because we live in a very litigious society. And that's not true. Everywhere I've looked into has some stipulation that you can use as much force as is legally required to protect yourself. That doesn't mean shooting someone because they want to take your wallet. I know people will disagree with me, and hey, let's hear your comments below. But you want my car? Go ahead, take it. I pay a buttload of insurance. Do it. It's not worth me getting into a scrap. It's not worth me getting a bullet, severing my spine, anything like that for a car. One of the big problems that I find with people who carry things, especially firearms, is they feel like they're invincible. I can go anywhere because I have blank. And that's a very dangerous mindset to have. I look at carrying an implement of self-defense the same way they'll look at a fire extinguisher. I don't plan on setting my kitchen on fire. I don't sit there and go, hey, I'm gonna light this big puddle of oil on fire because I've got a fire extinguisher. No. It's, holy crap, that puddle of oil caught on fire. I have a fire extinguisher. I practice safe knife handling techniques when I'm cooking so that I don't have to use the first aid kit, which is something I use a lot. And I look at it the same way as anything that you're going to carry. If you feel like you need to carry something, make sure that you're not making decisions that will force you to use it. It's the same things with people like, well, you have no problem going places because you have King. I have no doubt in my mind that King would throw down his life for me. But what kind of an would I be to intentionally put him in a situation where he has to do that? I do have my tendencies, but not when it comes to my dogs, unless it's advocating for them. The other thing is, when you have something that you can use, you don't actually know how to use it, or you feel safe just having it. Or, especially in the case of a firearm, you go to a range a couple times a year, you stand behind a bench, you fire at a piece of paper, and you go, wow, I'm good to go. Well, that's great if a situation involves you being in a range behind a bench and there's someone who's shaped like a piece of paper and they're just standing there. If you can, do a lot of dry fire acts, like draw dry. Pull it out of whatever it is you're carrying it in. Pull it, practice walking around and just something, anything more than just, obviously don't shoot in the house. But anything more than just going to the range and thinking, well, I'm great. I can put some rounds downrange and they're relatively close together. Pepper spray. Pepper spray drives me bonkers because you see on TV all the time where someone gets sprayed in the face and they scream and they fall down, and sometimes they go unconscious. And yes, some people do have very strong reactions to pepper spray, but I've also seen people take a full face and like orange. They are orange. And literally, this guy just and kept on doing what he was doing. So if you're thinking that, you know, I spray Buddy falls down and I can saunter away at my leisure, you're in for some serious pucker time. Or conducted energy weapons, commonly most known by the brand Taser. Again, I love the movie Red. Love the movie Red. But there's this scene. Bruce Willis tasers a couple of guys, they tense up, and then they pass out, and he leaves them snoring on the side of the sidewalk. Okay, not exactly snoring. No. I had the opportunity to get a little shot of a taser, and you tense up, and then that's it. As soon as they turn it off, you're fine. The only way you would pass out, conceivably, for the most case, is you lock up, you fall back, you crack your head, and you knock yourself unconscious. But it's not from the actual taser itself. So if your whole experience with it is based on what you see on TV, and it doesn't go that way, you are in a lot of trouble. Have your plan A, B, C, D, E, F, and holy crap, am I ever having a bad day. What I like to say is, don't just rely on things that are designed for defense. So don't just rely on a gun, don't just rely on a taser. Pocket knives are because the legality in that one can be a little sketch. But some pocket knives are also car safety kits. So you can use them for cutting a seatbelt and smashing open a window. Use things that you would normally carry and give them a double purpose. You have a dog? Great. Odds are you've got a bunch of these, dog leashes. Just keep one. I like to sling it across my body. You just clip it here, right? Let me back up so I don't step in the water bowl that King has got everywhere. So it's great for a dog because you can just unsnip it. You just stay right there, big man, good boy. Or you just start whipping it at someone. And if need be, you've got a very rudimentary, of course I can't do this now, I'm recording, tie. Which is also good for, I've used this method for moving logs off a trail, pulling things out of the way. So having an extra leash is great, great. You're driving a car. D-cell flashlight, I won't. License and registration. But, I don't know if you can hear that. That would hurt. And if you also need to like smash glass away from a window to help someone escape, added bonus. Insta360s, I'm pretty sure they're not going to approve of this methodology, but think about it. I'm out and I'm filming my dogs. We're having a lovely day. Dog comes running out at me. I won't use the camera because I really like it. But you extend this and now you've got, you know, get back. Or a person. It's not heavy, but it gives pause. What about hiking poles? You go hiking? Now, these are really light, but even just anything and everything I can use to help myself and my dogs get away from a bad situation, I'm going to use. And these are all things that you would be reasonable to use if something happened. Even a rock. Someone knocks you down, you fall down, you grab a rock, and boom, you smash them in the kneecap. You run away. Perfect. Unfortunate for his knee. Don't attack people. The last thing to think about is action versus reaction. And this is something that I get people talking about, especially when we discuss carjackings. You're sitting in your car, you're listening to tunes, you know, you play with the radio, maybe you're looking at your phone to see where you're going, hands-free of course, and then you hear a on your window and someone says, pardon me, do you have any gray poop? No. And they've got something pointed at you. So many people go, well, I would draw down and I'd shoot them. Are you kidding me? They've already got a gun in your face. It is, okay, I'm not very good with measurements because I've been told my whole life this is 6 inches, but pretty damn close. Through glass. So unless you have a bulletproof car, them pulling the trigger is going to be a hell of a lot faster than you drawing down on them and getting a bead. So just think about that. I love having those discussions with people. They get so mad at logic. The carjacking stuff, I think I'm going to do a separate video on because I've been pondering a lot about that one. So that's my take on weapons. If you agree, disagree, you've had experiences that you want to share, let me know. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. Have your plan A, B, C. Wait for king. How about that local sports team?